Hi, I'm Chef Jennifer with Witnessing Nature in Food. And today in your box, you're gonna receive 2 recipes, but we're gonna go to the kitchen soon and we're gonna make these for you so that you can see how they're done. We look forward to serving you in the future. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. We are at the kitchen. Last I left you, I was getting a box and telling you we were gonna come here and make some simple, easy recipes. So I've gotten my food from the box. I pulled out our recipes, and today we're gonna start with the vegetable stir fry. And then we're gonna go head over and cook it after we finish prepping it, and then we're gonna come back and plate it and give you some options on how you can make it more interesting for yourself. And then again, remember, just have fun with it, and recipe is just a guide. Make it the way you like to make it. So we have our red pepper. I pulled out some cherry tomatoes, of a carrot. We have our onion. I like it, white onions or red onions, those are great. And then we have our broccoli. And so I think I also left in the recipe that you're gonna use all of this broccoli except for maybe this little end piece right here. But we're gonna show you how to eliminate food waste so you get the maximum amount of use of all of your ingredients. So first of all, with some simple knife skills, we never want to really cut on a surface that is rolling. So we're gonna make it as flat and simple as possible. The easiest way to get a carrot to cut is basically cut it in half like that, and then it's not rolling. Keep your end of your knife down, and in the recipe I said if you cut the carrot thin, then it's gonna cook faster. Okay, and so you're just gonna continue to dice these or chop these like in little half circles until you get, like the recipe I said here, you get a handful. Now, not everybody has the same size hands. My hands are smaller than others, but a handful typically is about 1 serving of vegetables per person. You have a little extra than a handful, but that's okay. Finish these guys up here. And you notice that I always keep my fingers flat down, and I keep the nose of the knife down. It prevents you from having a knife go all over the place and cutting yourself. We have our carrots. I think I put in there that you're gonna put your carrots, your broccoli stalks, and your onion and garlic in bowl 1. So we're gonna cut off a little bit of this dude right here. Then we're gonna cut off the heads. So typically most people would throw this away, and we don't wanna do that because it's got lots of nutrition in it. You're gonna cut off the end right there, just kind of get the waste away, but you're gonna use all of this. There's lots of nutrition in there. So we're just gonna slice it. I call it rustic slicing versus anything else. We just kind of cut them in half like we did the carrot. Make sure they're nice and flat. And then again, we're going to, and you don't have to do it in a big group, you can do it in a little group. And again, we're gonna just dice it like we did the carrot, because these are gonna take a little longer to cook, but there's just as much nutrition in this portion of the broccoli as there is in the heads of the broccoli. So you wanna eat all of it, so you have very minimal food waste. So there you go. And what else did I say we put in there? Our onion and our garlic. So let's get this little piece of garlic in here. Oops. There we go, we get a little garlic all diced up. I'm just gonna slice him real quick because he's gonna melt inside the oil. And we're gonna do our onion. So the easiest way to cut an onion, all right, so you're just gonna take off this end right here. We're gonna cut the onion in half. We're probably not gonna use the other half of this because this is just a piece we're gonna peel off the outer skin. See, your onion stays together. The easiest way to dice an onion, some people like slices, I like to dice, is to cut like that and then pierce it here. The more piercings you put, the smaller your dice. And then just slice like this, there you go. And I think that's probably about all the onion that we need for this amount of vegetables. Some people love a ton of onion. I am not one of those people. I like onion for flavor, not to overpower. And the instructions, it said about half of a medium onion, and this is actually a large onion. So we're gonna use that. So our first bowl is complete. This will be the part that we start with. See the color of all those nice ingredients? It's got your garlic, your onion, your carrots, and your broccoli stalk. All right, so our second bowl here, we're gonna get and put all of the things that are gonna cook the quickest. We're just gonna cut them into pieces like, about this size right there. We're gonna do a nice stir fry size. They're big as small as you would like. In a stir fry, it doesn't matter. Bite size is important. Bite size is important. You might want to use this just for your broccoli stalks again. Put that in the other bowl, but look at these guys turn out perfect right there. Just throw them in your bowl. Yep. About bite size would be perfect. Yeah, maybe we'll cut them a little bit more. So we have our pepper and we have our tomatoes. Tomatoes I didn't put in the recipe, but it's a stir fry. You can put whatever you want. I'm going to show you how to do a good sauteed or burnt type of tomato to make it nice and blistery so that it explodes in your mouth with flavor. Actually, for the tomatoes, we're not going to slice them at all. We're just going to throw them in the thing. For the peppers, we're going to do a nice rustic cut. Too small and it will cook too fast and it'll be way overdone by the time you get to eat it. All right, so we have our pepper. So we want to, I think I mentioned in the ingredients that you want to, the reason why you want to separate your bowls is because these will take longer to cook than your other ingredients, which is like your pepper. So we're going to do a nice rustic cut. Again, I've laid it down the flat side. And I usually just can cut straight down the pepper because all of the seeds are here in the center. And if you cut right straight down the side, then you'll avoid all the seeds and you have less washing to do. So again, we're just going to slice the pepper, put some nice color because now we have some oranges, some greens, some light greens, some dark greens, some white, and some nice yellows with the tomatoes. I'm going to throw about this many in the bowl, and now we're ready to cook. So I'm basically going to turn on the pan. We're going to turn on high, and then we're going to put the oil in. When the oil is hot, I'll show you that technique to determine that. Then we'll add in the vegetables. So we're turning it on high. I probably have more BTUs in this stove pan right here than most people do, especially on electric ovens or electric stoves. It's a little bit harder to do. But we're going to put some oil in. I said about 2 tablespoons in a big pan. We're going to make sure that we get it all moved around and covering the bottom of the pan. And I use tongs for the stir fry. Now the first part of this is going to take about 7 minutes to cook. We're going to cook the more hard items. And the reason why we separated into the 2 bowls, if you remember, is because these items are going to cook much faster, probably in half the time that it'll take to cook these guys. And again, the thinner you cut your carrots, the faster they're going to cook. We also put the onion and the garlic in this part because we want those flavors to infuse the first contents of the vegetables that we're going to put in. You see now the oil is moving much faster. I use olive oil, which is it's a good for you oil. However, if you let it smoke, then it turns into a triglyceride. So that's how you tell your oil is hot. Now we're going to turn it down to about halfway and throw in our ingredients here so that they can cook. And you can them around just a little bit. We want them to sizzle and cook for about 7 minutes. And you can tell they'll be about halfway soft. And again, you always want your vegetables to be like an al dente, which is more crispy than it is soft or hard. A little bit of a snap to it. And you see the colors are already changing. The oranges are becoming more bright and the greens are becoming more bright. When they're at their maximum brightness, they're cooked. Now that we've got them in there, we're going to add some salt and pepper, but we're going to use a little more pepper than we are salt at this point because we're going to add some liquid aminos or soy sauce to it, and it's got some salt in it already. And you can always add more. You have a hard time taking it away. And if you don't know how to do that, then that's totally fine. You can just stir it with your tongs. Or you can practice. It's just a wrist action. You just want to flip it over. But the one thing you don't want to do is remove it from the stove too much, because you want to keep the heat on the pan so that it continues to cook and does not cool off. All right, looks like we're about halfway now. You can see the brightness and the greens of the broccoli. You can't smell the onion like I can smell it. This smells like it's roasting and really infusing that flavor inside of the broccoli and the carrots. Now we're going to add in these guys. And really, here's where you're going to see your brightness come in, because this green is going to become much more brilliant. The reds are going to become more brilliant. And you're going to see the blister in these tomatoes here. So they're going to blister up just a bit. Sometimes to stimulate the steam, you just got to get the steam in there, and sometimes you just throw in a little bit of water. I'm just trying to get these tomatoes on the bottom so they can blister nicely in the pan. You know, I get little, just like grill marks, so little blisters. You see how the dark greens are starting to become more brilliant? The oranges won't become more brilliant, but they will blister and they'll turn a little bit brown on the outside. You want to constantly keep it moving because you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan. Yep, sure. The tomatoes are blistering really nicely. You can see them starting to, the skin is peeling off just a little bit. Because what you really want when you bite into it is the skin to be so soft that when you bite into it, it's an explosion of flavor in your mouth. Because it's going to add a sweetness. And your carrot right here is really starting to become soft. And that's really where you're going for. All right, so you can see here that the greens are starting to become really brilliant. When they start to turn gray, that's when they're overcooked. So you want them to still be crisp. And you can see that your tomatoes are starting to get some blisters on them, some brown spots. The skins are starting to peel off. I said, I'm looking at this and I think that we're done. I think it's ready to serve. We're going over here. So we're going to do 2 different services here. I gave you 2 options. Just because it's the same vegetables doesn't mean you can't make it a little bit different. So the reason why I didn't add the soy sauce to it was on the stove and I sprayed it with water to get the steam to stimulate is really because I wanted to show you 2 different dishes. So we're going to do an Italian version. We made some pasta earlier. You can use any kind of pasta you would like. So there. We'll throw some of these vegetables on top of it. It really gives you a nice pasta primavera. See those tomatoes? Look at they're all blistery. Yummy. Your dish is plated. So this is an Italian version, so you can do it pasta primavera style. That's fresh vegetables on a bed of pasta. Add a little bit of olive oil to it if you want. Throw some more garlic in it if you'd like. Throw some pepper on it. But it's done and it's super simple. So we finished this dish with 10 minutes of prep and about 10 to 12 minutes of cooking. So you can have this dinner ready and sitting and eating your food inside of 20 minutes. All right, so I threw some brown rice on here too because you can make an Asian version if you would like. Throw your vegetables kind of so they overlap. Go, ooh, look at that. Little grill marks on there. And look at these little tomatoes. They're nice and blistery. They're ready to be little explosions. And then just sprinkle on a little bit of soy sauce. Or you can use sriracha if you want it to be hot, or you can use whatever you would like to use. Hoisin sauce, whatever sauce you happen to have. And you have yourself an Asian version. So you can do just many different things with different kinds of vegetables. And for a little extra option that we added into the bottom of the menu, if you want to add protein to it, you can add a vegetable protein, or I had made it some chicken. You can throw some chicken on here with the sauce. And there's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of orange juice to it. And I think you have some oranges in your box. Add a little orange to it and garnish it just a hair. And there you go. A little bit of flair, easy to do, with simple things that you have at home and in your box. I hope you enjoy the recipes we put together for you, and I most of all hope you enjoy cooking them with your family, with your friends, and you just have fun eating quick, simple, and easy recipes. And again, I'm Chef Jennifer with Witnessing Nature in Food, and I am so proud to be part of the Fresh Food Collab.